Hello, this is Jeffrey Fox here. We're getting towards the end of our discussion of the different big data applications uh, typified by the X Informatics rubric. In this example here, we'll discuss health informatics. We, of course, have the usual rallying cry of using clouds, running data analytics collaboratively, processing big data to solve problems, and those problems in this case are in health informatics. This is a very promising, important field, although the big data aspects of it are really only just getting started. If you look at the collection of already defined areas, X informatics, you will find a substantial number um, correspond to the health areas, biomedical informatics. We have here another biomedical informatics. We have an old collection of biologically related informatics areas here, chem informatics, bioinformatics. And then we have here health informatics at the intersection of health information technology and health management. So the whole medical area is actually one of the early areas which actually use the term informatics. We have here the pathology informatics, the study of tumors and things like that, and where the big data application is enormous because they have so many images to process. So let's first do an overview of this field, and we will start by just listing some of the areas of, and I call it here biomedicals, so I don't get into a debate as to what's chem informatics, what's bioinformatics, and what's health informatics. And we have the following types of big data areas. We have the fact that soon everybody will be instrumented. Currently, people are actually instrumented through their smartphones, but there are all sorts of other wearable devices coming along, watches, glasses, and all sorts of just ad hoc devices that will tell you how fast you're jogging and things like that. I already mentioned the pathology case. That's a huge area where we have image data. We will discuss a little at the end the area of proteomics and genomics, where at least initially a lot of the large data is coming. An important area, which is an oldish area, but only really getting going as data gets properly digitized in common formats, is electronic medical records. An important aspect of that that type of data is it's updated by events, and actually the types of events is updated by possibly some of these from health sensors. People can be carrying their devices, and those devices can send information up to be co-located with the other data of personalized data in an electronic medical record. And there's a lot of activity, which is what you might call classic data access and sophisticated data mining, just the whole ecosystem of big data applied to the health area. This is a slide I showed before in the introduction, and it comes from a Microsoft survey which points out that annually in gigabytes we have these data gathered here from for radiology, diagnostic radiology, you get 68.7 petabytes a year, and that does not include cardiology. If you added that in, you'll get over an exabyte. So that's an awful lot of data, and of course it's so big because it's pixels. An image gets you a lot more data than the thoughts of the doctor written into the electronic record, which is the other type of information, another type of information. We've also shown this important slide here. It points out that compared to Moore's law, the cost of gene sequencing has drastically decreased by over 2 orders of magnitude. and that says the computing associated with genomics has effectively gone up a factor, this factor of 300 or whatever it is, simply by this drastic change here, because whatever it took me to do here, I will need 300 times as many computers to do it at this stage here when there's such a big difference. So people have said that the cost of processing the genome is actually not the biotechnology sequencing device, it's actually the computing. If you did full personal genomics with getting everybody's genomes, that gets you around 3 petabytes of data per day. So that's a lot of data. That's an exabyte per year. Here's a slide from a Microsoft talk about this issue of personalized medicine, which is of growing importance around the world. The idea that due to the information in medical records, due to the detailed information from personal genomes, you can do a much better job to adapt treatments to any one individual's particular makeup. So you can actually predict which patients will benefit from a particular medicine and will not have toxic reaction. You can adjust the dosage to the individual, and you can also possibly make it easier to get drugs approved, because you can get drugs approved for subgroups of the patients, only ones that have certain genetic characteristics. So this whole area of personalized medicine and genomics is a very interesting area. As an aside on this is a friend of mine, Larry Smarr, and he has adopted a very interesting a movement which is called the quantified self, or the quantified human movement, where individuals are taking their own data, analyzing their own data, and using that to make more progress than possibly the traditional approach to medicine, because if you have your own data, you're not worried about privacy, because it's your own data. And here's a conference in this whole quantified self field, and you can see here's that list of meetings around the world and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. Here's an article about Larry from these aspects of his work from the Atlantic magazine, and says the flip side of privacy, and it's from individuals who are actively making their own data open access. So it's pretty interesting example of personalized medicine. Here's a more traditional graph, which is from the European Bioinformatics Institute, a very big European laboratory for supporting the health and medical areas. And they have a whole bunch of databases, and this gives you a plot of the number of accesses of their databases as a function of time from 2005 to 2011. And what's interesting about this plot is that the blue one hardly doesn't change a lot, and the blue one is people accessing their database. What's changing is the green one, which is other programs accessing their databases. So this is the so-called web service interface, which is what programs use, the programmatic API. And so, of course, the total increases quite significantly, but the increase is dominantly from programs, not from people. Here is the same type of increase in access by data types, and you can see the sequencing data has particularly large increases, but all parts of EBI activities are seeing huge increases in access and data storage. This one is data storage, this particular slide. but obviously access and storage are closely related.